Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to the second layout for this double page mini series inspired by a digital layout template that I had discovered in Pinterest. So, this one, it's also going to be the configuration of the photos will be loosely inspired by the sketch. But the biggest thing that I really like about the sketch was that block, not so much in the middle. Well, I guess I would say kind of in the middle of the double page layout. I really like that because I rarely do that kind of setting or setup. I usually like either put my journaling block and my title, like maybe kind of balance them out. One will be on the top left, the other will be on the top or the bottom right or something like that. And so I never do something like this. So that's why I wanted to try it. These photos are going to be summer themed, and so I had pulled out a lot of summer type products. And then I the biggest thing that I found with these templates is that they are, especially with a double page, is that they're really like focused on the photos, the configuration or the placements of photos. So it doesn't take into consideration background papers, elements, embellishments, and things like that, which is good because then I could kind of do my own thing. So with this one, I felt like I could start with a solid background. And I'm sorry that this is zoomed really like close so you don't really see the edges of my layout. But because there's a lot of photos, I wanted to, of course, start with a background piece, and I'm going to go with blue just because the photos had a lot of water in it. But then I also wanted to do a background, and I always do blocks of background, and so this time I decided to maybe create a triangle. I just cut a 12 by 12 piece of pattern paper, and then I cut them in half diagonally, so there's two triangles. And then I like this configuration a lot. This is really cool, but I end up changing that just because I have a ton of photos, and I have like 3, 6, 9, 12. I have 15 photos here, and these are all just photos of some of our some of the photos of our little excursion to a nearby resort. And they're actually a hot springs resort, but they also have a pool. Well, they have a few pools, but this one was their family one with I believe it was like 40 feet slide. I think that's the measurement of that slide. It's pretty long. It's not really high, but it is long. And so all of us took turns and we took pictures while we were all going down the slide. And so I did trim all of them down to about 3 inches just so that they could have, you know, just because I wanted them to all fit in there and not so tight, and also because I was taking pictures, or we were all taking pictures of each other kind of far from the actual end of the slide because water is what's next to it, and I didn't want the camera to get wet. So we were just on the edge of the pool, and so there's a lot of not empty space, but items in the layout, or sorry, rather in the photo that I didn't really want to be highlighted. And also there's kind of some people on the edges of it, and so I trimmed the photos to 3 inches. Now, because of the background being the blue was bold, and then you have the pattern papers, I decided to mat all of the photos, and I did that using the backside of pattern papers that I didn't really care for. If I have a single-sided pattern paper, usually those are the ones that come in a collection pack, and so I would use the backside of that. Now, I really wanted to use that diagonal stripe multicolored paper for the border of my layout. But then I noticed that if I did the triangle, the 12 by 12 piece, that it will just be, I don't know, there's just too many layers of paper. Not that that's bad, but I really just wanted the blue to kind of not divide them. What I'm trying to say is that I wanted the blue to be in between them, if that makes any sense. So I trimmed that triangle piece and I actually moved that to the edges instead of having it in the center, because it didn't really matter if I put them in the center because it's going to be covered up mostly by the photos. And also I wanted that center block, like I said, that's my main reason why I wanted to use this sketch, this template. And so I wanted that to stand out a little bit more in the center. So I'm keeping that in the center, and then I moved all of my triangles to the edges, which I like better. So again, these photos are just slide photos. I took a lot of photos. Well, we all took a lot of photos of each other because it was so much fun. But I narrowed it down to three, and I kind of picked one where we were just kind of right there by the bend of the last part of the slide, and then kind of in the middle of that last bend, and then one that we've slid off the slide or just about to go down. So those are the pictures that I took. And then because there's five in my family, I picked three of each one, and I would just kind of do kind of a movement type of collection where each one kind of has the same type of photos. And so yeah, that's what I did. And then I have this this block of pattern paper. This is actually, I think, this was for a fall collection, but I like the kind of mustardy brownish yellow that matched that pattern paper that I have. And so I'm picking that as my block for the center. And I did feel like it needed some kind of border to go, just to make that stand out against all of the background. And so I picked a kind of fuchsia pink, which I pull just a cardstock. And I pulled that out from that striped pattern paper that I used on the edge. And because I have the borders already, I needed to trim that out. And so I think I cut an inch from it so that it will be 11 inches. And so now that my papers, or my photos are all matted, and then my pattern paper background is coming together, now it's time to just, put them all and adhere them together. So I'm just going to finish up. I will adhere this block of paper, but I do not have my journaling block yet, and so that's fine. I could just cut that into strips and then add it later on. So now I'm just making sure that I am putting my photos kind of the way, like from oldest from oldest to youngest, like, so my husband and I first, and then my oldest son, and then my daughter, and our little one. So that's kind of how I assembled that. And then I will be kind of labeling each one just so that at a glance you can see that, oh, these were mom's pictures, these were dad's pictures, and then the kids' pictures. So I will label that later. And it was kind of a good thing because then I was able to use some of my letter sticker stash that I kind of forgotten that I had. So I hope that you guys are doing well, considering all of the things that we have gone through the last few months. And I hope that crafting has helped you cope in some way or another. I know for me it totally has. And one good thing one thing that I thought was really, that was good for me anyways, when it came to the stay-at-home order and the pandemic, was that I was really able to focus on using up my stash. Although there were times, I have to say, that being indoors so much was making me cranky and crabby, and there were times where I felt like the only thing that could help me get out of my funk was to go online shopping. And so honestly, there were weeks where that's what I would do. I would go on, and it wasn't even scrapbook related. I would just go online and do, like, I would put things in my cart, like if it was clothes or something, or yeah, I would go on like J. Crew Factory or Loft or places like that, and I would put things in my cart, but I would never buy them. But it was just like I just wanted, I don't know. It was, I could tell that therapy is still something that I long, or that I has that helps me cope. But I guess the good thing about that is that, or the good thing about what I was doing was that I wasn't really buying it. I was just putting them in my cart and then forgetting them. So, anyways, let's go back to the layout. Now I have laid all the photos, and I have to say, this kind of configuration or layout or design is something that I really liked. I like the blocks and how the layouts, or sorry, the photos are all kind of lined up. I really like that. It still tells a story, but they're all kind of, I like the idea of them being lined up and all kind of perfectly symmetrical in that regard. And then I decided that I would use as a title Splish, Splash, and Slide. And again, since we're talking about using up my stash, so I decided to use 3 different white thickers. Now, 2 of them are actually white, but the other one's more silvery, but that's totally fine with me. Now at the end, I don't know if I liked all of the fonts. I think I like the idea of 3 different fonts for my title, but I wish that I had kind of a scripty font so that it will break up all of the blockiness of the layout. But I didn't have any, so that's just how it's going to be. And I also felt like I didn't center them properly. I wish that I would have taken the time to maybe like use the wax paper method so that it will be centered, but it is what it is. And I have a title, and so I'm not going to complain. With this particular foam thickers, I didn't have any more S's, and so I'm doctoring some 8s to make them S's, and yeah, they all work. And I'm just trying to make sure that I center them. That's the biggest problem that I have with this, is because I didn't do wax paper, or I didn't do like that, the edge of the ruler that I used to do a ton. I have this plastic ruler that I would put all of my letters on just the edge of it and then place them wherever. And I haven't done that in a long time. And you will see me kind of do that with the very last word, because I do not like how they're not spaced properly. And as you can see, that splish, it's bothering me just even looking at it right now, because the S has a little bit more space away from the edge versus the H. And so that's really bothering me. But I think I'm going to fix that in a little bit. But this is where I start remembering, wait a minute, I used to do this. And okay, so now it just goes so much faster. I do have to adhere the D, sorry for my head in the way, but I really wanted these things to kind of be more balanced. Now that splish word, that was chipboard, and for some reason, the layers of the paper or the cardboard, whatever it is, was, if I pull it out, it will take out some of the layers, and so I was just trying to be careful with it. Now it's time to decorate, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some borders, or no, some, whatchamacallit, label tags or tabs, and I am going to just pull out some stickers and pull out some tabs for the specific photo blocking, so I can label that. Now I am putting on the 3 on the left side, I put that on the bottom, and then on the 2 on the right side, I'm putting that on the top, just because I feel like it was, it's good to kind of mix it up. Now I have these Teresa Collins alphabet stickers that I've had for a few years, and I just keep on forgetting that I have them. So and I have a lot of letters. I think I have like, I don't know, 10 sheets of these. So this is really good to use up, and I don't know why I've forgotten to use it up. So I'm just going to label all of the names of my family members, and then I'm going to go ahead and do some decorating. Now, my focus for my embellishments would be some chipboard stickers that I haven't used, and they are summer and pool related, so I thought that I would use that. And in my head, I was going to kind of do a little bit of scenery on the bottom, but I'm not good at putting together stickers to create a scenery. I don't know about you, but yeah, I suck at that. But I will try, and it will not go as I had envisioned it in my head, but it is what it is. So that's basically my layout. I will finish off all of my decorations here, and then I will call it good, and I will have some still shots at the end. Now, if you have any questions, make sure that you leave it in the comment section below. If you like seeing these kinds of videos, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, because I do layouts and double page layouts. I have a playlist for it, and please hit the bell button so that YouTube will notify you of when I will show my next layout, and the next layout will of course be part of this mini series. It will be layout number 3, and I will catch you guys another day. Bye.